changing the narrative to occupy the eastern side. A great deal of effort has been put into changing the narrative, victimizing Haiti over the years. While it's important not to discredit the real hardships Haiti has faced. Hurricanes, earthquakes, AIDS, cholera, the anthrax epidemic, and now the more recent gang violence. Also many dictatorships. And many decades of foreign control, puppet presidents, and foreign policy impositions over economic interests. The exploitation of these calamities has led to a continuous cycle of profiting from disaster, particularly by the international community. The subject of human mobility in the name of human rights has also not been overlooked. Many Haitians have influenced the international community to advocate for seeking refuge on the eastern side of the island, further complicating the dynamics between both nations.
These protesters say Haitian migrants deserve to stay in the DR.
The discrimination and the injustice in Dominican Republic.
The exact number of Haitian migrants in the Dominican Republic is unknown, but recent estimates range from 500,000 to nearly 2 million. Recent estimates range from 500,000 to nearly 2 million. Recent estimates range from 500,000 to nearly 2 million.
The international airport has stopped operating. No flights in or out. Paralysed by gang violence, like much of the country. A gang leader and former police officer, Jimmy Charizet, nicknamed Barbecue, has claimed responsibility for the attacks, saying the aim is to force the Prime Minister, Ariel Henry, to stand down.
The crisis has fueled fears of another Haitian migrant exodus in the U.S. and here in the Dominican Republic. The DER has built a 12-foot-tall border wall to protect them from gangs and crime. They call it a smart security fence with drones and cameras, night vision, and watchtowers. Yesterday, we drove in dune buggies along the border with Haiti, with the commander of CESFRONT, the Dominican Republic's Border Patrol. Construction of this new border wall began last year. The president of the Dominican Republic says so far about 100 miles of border wall has been completed. The goal is to eventually have a border wall run along the entire border with Haiti. He says it'll change the Dominican Republic forever. The physical wall is already doing its job. From a security standpoint, it is helping us a lot.
People who are by birthright Dominican nationals, are by birthright Dominican nationals, are by birthright Dominican nationals who are being exposed. Removed from the Dominican Republic, as well as just generally anyone who is deemed Haitian by nature of being darker skinned or looking black enough. Are being removed and forcefully exposed. And so
only undocumented migrants are deported, regardless color or origin.
That is the reality of it, is that people who are black are being forcefully removed. And that is just inherently making the Dominican Republic a whiter nation, because they're not treating white immigrants in the same way. They're not treating the South American, the Venezuelan immigrants who have overstayed their visas in the Dominican Republic in the same way. In fact, the Dominican Republic has offered their help to...
Only undocumented migrants are deported, regardless color or origin.
European migrants who have been facing refugee crisis as well, extending their help to Ukrainian refugees. And so it's a very deliberate attempt to enact violence on Black people in the Dominican Republic.
When I remember going to DR in 2005 as a student to study abroad, and what stood out to me was just how Black people were, right? That there were Black people everywhere in the Dominican Republic. And
only 11% of Dominicans are considered white and 73% mixed race. As of 2024, current population is about 11 million Dominicans and 3 million undocumented Haitians. This means that 27.27% are Haitians and 11% are white Dominicans. There is no factual, statistical evidence that the Dominican Republic has anti-Black policies.
Epifania St. Charles, an activist, visits those most vulnerable to being deported to Haiti, a country many have never visited. She says the threatened deportations are just the latest example of discrimination towards those with Haitian roots, a prejudice she says has grown as Haitians have moved out of the countryside and into the cities.
Some Dominicans are afraid because they feel Haitians are invading. There's xenophobia because we're black and we're poor. Many conservatives say a poor country shouldn't have to take in those even poorer. Many conservatives say a poor country shouldn't have to take in those even poorer. Many conservatives say a poor country shouldn't have to take in those even poorer.
Accept the discrimination and the injustice in Dominican Republic.
The exact number of Haitian migrants in the Dominican Republic is unknown.
But making his case on television to a population largely in favor of the plan, the Dominican Interior Minister rejects international criticism.
If someone arrives and says they're Dominican, how do I know they're Dominican? How do I know their identity when I don't even know their name? Tell me, should I register them just for telling me this? How?
For those still without the required papers and with no options left, all they can do is wait and hope that their family will be spared.
Welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. A crackdown on Haitian immigrants could seriously mess up your trip to the Dominican Republic if it's all true. The U.S. Embassy there is officially putting out a warning for dark-skinned black travelers. According to the embassy, the country's migration agents could mistake black Americans or other people with dark skin tones for Haitian immigrants. And if you leave your passport at the resort, you could even be detained. My next guest here on The Factor Uncensored, Fox 26 photographer Tori Walker and attorney Dennis Sperling. Both of them spend regular time in the Dominican Republic. Glad to have you both here. So, Tori, when you heard this, you and I talked over the weekend, and you didn't put much weight into it because you know what the complexion of that country is. So your thoughts on this?
Well, most of their dollars come from tourism, you know, people coming in to vacation there. So to do anything that would hurt that, I think, would be counterproductive to, you know, the way that they make their money. So I just don't put too much credence into it.
And Dennis, you spend a lot of time there as well. And when you hear that they may be going after dark-skinned individuals because they don't want Haitians in that country, that crosses a line into intra-racial racism.
Right.
So your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, Isaiah, usually I come here and I'm able to have fun and talk to you and your audience, but, you know, this is a very serious issue. And as a black American, as a foundational black American, I don't want to put myself into the lived experiences of either a Haitian person, a citizen, or a Dominican citizen. Now, I lived in the Dominican Republic. I've watched the news there. I've interacted with folks from there. I understand that there's a lot of history that goes on between these two countries. Mm-hmm. They fought wars against each other. There's sports competition. But on top of that, if you watch the news, there's a lot of bad press about Haitian immigrants. I saw a news report where, and this is several years back, where a young Dominican woman had her arms cut off by a Haitian man who she rebuffed his advances. There are stories that go around the countryside where, you know, the immigrants come there and then get jobs and they end up killing the people in the fincas or the Dominican owners of the property. So there's a lot that we don't know. But the main thing is, as a foundational black American, it's not my job. As an American, it's not my job to be the police of the rest of the world. We tried that, it didn't work. We have issues here in the United States. We're concerned. We got 18 people who died right here in Harris County in the lockup over the last 2 years. So we have our own issues as black Americans that we need to deal with. And the thing is, I haven't received any outreach from any Haitians. I don't see them opening up their borders and allowing us to become citizens, dual citizens of their country. Same thing for our African countries. They're not extending these arms to us. And I'm going to tell you this. Since the George Floyd incident, what I found is that black Americans, our hearts have gone a little bit colder because we realized that there's no outlet for us and we're in it on our own. And anything that we achieved in this country, we fought for. Yeah, there is racism. There's intra-racism in South America, Central America, and the Caribbean. We dealt with that here in the United States. But the thing is, as foundational black Americans, as those black Americans who can trace our roots to Mississippi, Alabama, and these tobacco farms in North Carolina, we stayed and we fought. We didn't run. We didn't try to go to someone else's country illegally. We stayed and we fought, and we made this country what it is for us. And now you have folks coming over and doing that. But what you benefit here in the United States, that's from the hard work. It's illegal to racially profile someone in the United States. It's illegal for a cop to do that. That's a luxury of the United States, due largely in part to the hard work of foundational black
Would
Americans.
you guys advise any Americans to continue to go there, or would you say, right, let's just take a pause and see what happens?
I'm not changing my plans. Yeah. Here's the thing. Just like I know you're a black American, or I can look at you and tell, I can look at my Nigerian brothers and Ghanaian brothers and Haitian, I can look at you and tell that you from around here. You understand what I'm saying?
They can tell by the way you walk.
They can tell. They got a different language, a different culture. They have different ways in which they communicate, they know each other. That is not our fight. That is something that exists between Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and those governments need to work that out. Americans, I've never had any issues.
But would you recommend someone going there if that's not our, because we could be caught in the middle of it?
Get your passport.
Go, but you're saying they would recognize us.
You are going to be you're going to be in Punta Cana. You're going to be on the North Coast in Puerto Plata, Sosúa. You're going to be in Santo Domingo. This is not your fight. They know you're American by your T-shirt.
And your recommendation for Americans?
I say go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, the Dominican Republic is set to begin what some are calling ethnic purging, placing the fate of hundreds of thousands of Dominicans of Haitian descent into limbo. 500,000 legally stateless people.
Dominican citizenship or nationality is not automatic. Dominican Constitution, Article 18, Dominican nationality is not given at birth. The Haitian nationality is already automatically given at birth. Haitian Constitution, Article 11.
Because it seems like a state-sponsored, open season on people who are not only, who are considered Haitians, by the way they look, primarily, or by their Haitian-sounding name.
And most people here in the United States are not aware of this long, troubled history between the Dominican Republic and Haiti, occupying the same island. There are ultra-nationalists and conservatives among the Dominican Republic who talk about, harken back to what they claim was the Haitian occupation of their country, and they see a line running through historically on this issue. Could you fill us in on some of that history and that's led to what we are facing today?
Well, Hispaniola is shared by the island by Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and we share a history of colonialism and occupations, and at some point it was split between the French and the Spanish, and after the Haitian independence there was a shift where Haiti there was a shift where Haiti the whole island was under one rule after post-independence, and then Dominican Republic in 1822 there was a separation. But there are all these historical scars where we on the Haitian side remember the massacre of Haitian cane workers in 1937, and then these things are brought up. But there's also, for Americans, a common occupation of both Haiti and the Dominican Republic at the turn of the century, and both sides of the islands have been marred really by the corporate this other kind of occupation of the sugar industry that goes back to the beginning of the 20th century.
Undocumented migrants from Haiti are untraceable for the law. Only undocumented migrants are deported, regardless color or origin.
We're afraid. Haiti is close to us. We've seen the videos of killing there. It's like you have a dangerous neighbor living next door, and you don't know if they will hurt your family.
We asked Foreign Minister Roberto Alvarez to respond to charges by Amnesty International of racism and inhumane treatment of Haitians.
73% of our population is mixed blood, 16% black, 11% white. So there's never been within Dominicans a distinction as to race. That is completely false, number one. Of course, we're more than willing to help with the international community with any humanitarian assistance, but the question is being asked, why isn't the Dominican Republic shouldering the bulk of it?
In Villa Duarte, working-class Dominicans we met insist their country is doing its fair share already. They say hundreds of thousands of Haitians live here, everyone mixed together.
Imagine 2 people live in your house and 5 more arrive. Your share of everything shrinks.
But the presence of so many Haitians is also creating tensions.
I feel sorry for them, but they should be sent back to their country. We're being flooded by Haitians.
You go to a hospital and there are 10 Haitians and 2 Dominicans. That can't be. They are taking away our rights.
We're in the general hospital now, and indeed there are many, many Haitians here, many Haitian children as well. But that's only part of the story. They didn't just arrive yesterday. Many have been here for decades, undocumented. Back in Villa Duarte, there are 2 things people agree on. The fear that the violence next door could spill over into this country.
That is why the Dominican government is trying by all means to protect itself from a spillover effect of the Haitian security crisis.
Many organizations promote inclusion, which is a noble cause. The Dominican Republic has been a hub for successful migrations over the centuries. However, the colonial culture of violence seen in some cases is fundamentally incompatible with the peaceful coexistence of the modern 21st century. Sometimes, within different ethnic groups from Haiti, possibly between the northern and southern regions, or different political views. Violent fights erupt, turning some Dominican parks and neighborhoods into real battlegrounds.
¡Vamos ya, coño! ¡La guerra con haitianos, coño! ¡Llama a la policía, coño! ¡Auxilio! ¡Dios mío! ¡A la policía! ¡Llama a la policía!
Organizations such as Amnesty International, the International Organization for Migration, and the UN High Commissioner for Refugees have been critical of the deportation of undocumented Haitians. However, what they often overlook from a security and legal due process perspective is that an undocumented individual, lacking legal identification, cannot undergo a background check or be represented as a legal entity. This poses significant risks. When such individuals trespass on private property, reside illegally, carry deadly weapons, and resist law and order, regardless color or race, they must be returned to their country of origin immediately to ensure public safety and uphold legal standards. Prolonging deportation while the individual's country seeks information only extends their detention unnecessarily.
Meanwhile, Border Patrol officials are warning agents to prepare for an uptick in the number of Haitian migrants coming into the U.S. The warning comes amid rampant gang violence in the Caribbean nation, and the UN estimates heavily armed gangs now control around 80% of the capital of Port-au-Prince. This is forcing thousands of Haitians to flee their homes, and it's not clear just how many are headed here to the U.S. News Nation correspondent Allie Bradley monitoring this live with how Border Patrol is preparing. Allie.
Yeah, hey, Natasha. So this crisis could be coming to the coast. Obviously, it's kind of not an if but when situation. We'll see some migrants from Haiti attempting to come into the United States. Now, which direction that is still remains to be seen.
Guantanamo Bay is going to be used if it's Coast Guard. If the Coast Guard interdicts them and the Coast Guard does not allow them to one of our ports in Florida, then it goes to Guantanamo Bay.
Okay, so Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, he says in order to prevent migrants from reaching his state, of course, in Florida, he is deploying more than 250 additional officers and soldiers and more than a dozen air and sea craft to the southern coast of his state.
Announcing a crackdown on guns. It follows a recent increase in firearm and ammunition smuggling to Haiti and other areas in the Caribbean.
Yeah, guys, take a look at this firepower we have on these tables here. These are sniper rifles. We have some other semi-automatic rifles. Over here on this table, we even have an AK-47. And these are the guns that Homeland Security Investigations Office here in Miami say are increasingly flowing into the Caribbean, specifically into Haiti.
Huge cache of missing arms came to light during his visit to 2 military bases. The Colombian president now fears that the stolen arms have landed in the hands of rebel groups or may have been smuggled to Haiti, where gangs have wreaked havoc.
A tale of two countries that share an island landmass, but with diametrically different lines of development and, sadly, growing animosity between the two neighbors. While the Dominican Republic is seeing a business boom based on its growing tourism sector, neighboring Haiti is almost in terminal decline. Its people among the most poor in the world. The Dominicans are now building a wall along the previously porous border. The aim is to keep out any form of traffic. The aim is to keep out any form of traffic. The aim is to keep out any form of traffic. It's a move that adds to growing racism and xenophobia, growing racism and xenophobia,